Did you know how the inner mind manipulates the heart? Our mind and heart are constantly interacting, sometimes working together, but often clashing in ways that create confusion, emotional distress, and even self-sabotage. The mind operates through logic and analysis, while the heart responds instinctively through emotions. However, the mind has a way of playing tricks on the heart, leading us to experience feelings that may not always align with reality. This interplay is influenced by deep-rooted psychological processes that shape our perception, behavior, and emotional well-being. 1. The conflict between rational thought and emotional response. Cognitive dissonance occurs when the mind holds two contradictory beliefs or emotions at the same time, creating a mental and emotional discomfort. To reduce this discomfort, the brain either justifies, modifies, or suppresses one of these opposing thoughts or emotions. This can lead to self-deception, poor decision-making, or emotional turmoil. For example, someone may be in a relationship that is clearly unhealthy, yet their heart holds on to love and attachment. The mind, unable to reconcile these conflicting truths, may justify the situation with thoughts like, maybe they're just having a bad phase. They love me deep down. They just don't know how to show it. It's not as bad as it seems. Other people have worse relationships. Rather than accepting the truth, the mind manipulates emotions to align with a more comfortable reality, avoiding the pain of confronting the actual situation. 2. Intrusive thoughts and emotional reactions. The subconscious mind is constantly producing intrusive thoughts, random, uninvited ideas that can be unsettling or distressing. While some thoughts can be easily dismissed, others trigger deep emotional responses, particularly if they align with underlying fears or insecurities. For instance, a person may suddenly think, what if my partner doesn't love me anymore? What if I lose my job and become a failure? What if I embarrass myself in front of everyone? Even when these thoughts are irrational, the heart reacts as if they are real, triggering anxiety, sadness, or panic. The more one dwells on these thoughts, the more power they gain, reinforcing emotional distress and creating a feedback loop where the mind continues to fuel the heart's reaction. 3. The mind seeks evidence to support feelings. Rather than objectively analyzing a situation, the brain has a tendency to seek out information that supports existing emotions while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This is known as confirmation bias, and it plays a major role in emotional decision-making. For example, if someone already feels insecure in a relationship, they will focus on the times their partner didn't text back quickly rather than the times they did. Notice only the small signs of distance while ignoring gestures of love and care. Interpret neutral actions through a negative lens, reinforcing their own fears. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where emotions distort reality, leading to further emotional distress. 4. Emotional triggers and the influence of past experiences. The heart doesn't just respond to the present. It often reacts based on past experiences stored in the subconscious. When a current event resembles a past emotional wound, the subconscious triggers an intense emotional reaction, even if the situation isn't actually the same. For example, someone who was cheated on before may struggle with trust, constantly fearing betrayal, even in a completely different and faithful relationship. A person who grew up feeling neglected may become overly sensitive to minor rejections, interpreting them as evidence of being unloved. Someone who experienced failure in the past may hesitate to take risks, assuming they will fail again, even if circumstances are different. These emotional triggers make the past feel like the present, causing overreactions, misinterpretations, and avoidance behaviors. 5. The illusion of rationality. Emotions drive most decisions. Most people believe they make rational choices, but in reality, emotions drive 90% of decisions, with logic stepping in afterward to justify them. The brain is skilled at rationalizing emotional decisions, making people believe they are acting based on reason when they are actually being led by feelings. For instance, a person buys something expensive on impulse and later tells themselves, I needed this for work, when the real reason was emotional satisfaction. Someone stays in a toxic relationship and convinces themselves it's better than being alone, because they fear loneliness. A person avoids taking risks and tells themselves it's the smart choice, when in reality it's fear holding them back. Recognizing this illusion of rationality is key to making better decisions. 6. The brain protects by destroying. The human brain is designed to protect, not necessarily to ensure happiness. Sometimes this leads to self-sabotage, where the mind creates obstacles to prevent emotional pain, even at the cost of long-term well-being. Common self-sabotage behaviors include pushing people away out of fear they will eventually leave, procrastinating on opportunities due to fear of failure, ending relationships prematurely to avoid the possibility of heartbreak, downplaying one's achievements to avoid pressure or expectations. This happens because the subconscious sees emotional vulnerability as a threat, so it creates excuses, doubts, or again destructive behaviors to maintain a sense of control. 7. The hidden power of the subconscious mind. Most of our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions stem from the subconscious mind, which operates outside of our conscious awareness. This is why people often struggle to explain their own emotions or reactions, because they originate from deep-rooted mental patterns that were formed over time. For example, someone who had an emotionally distant parent may struggle with intimacy, even if they consciously desire close relationships. A person who was bullied may instinctively avoid social situations, even if they logically know they are safe. Someone who grew up in financial hardship may feel anxious about money, even when they are financially stable. Since these patterns operate below conscious awareness, they shape behavior without a person realizing it. How to regain control over the mind and heart. Recognize emotional patterns. Identify when thoughts are being shaped by emotions rather than reality. Pause before reacting. Allow the logical brain to catch up with emotional impulses. Challenge assumptions. Ask, is this thought based on facts or just my emotions leading me? Detach from past trauma. Acknowledge when past experiences are distorting present emotions. Practice mindfulness. Observe emotions without immediately acting on them. Reframe negative thoughts. Consciously replace self-defeating beliefs with rational perspectives. Strengthen emotional resilience. Learn to tolerate discomfort without letting it dictate actions. By understanding these psychological mechanisms, we can stop the mind from manipulating the heart and regain emotional clarity. The key is to align rational thinking with emotional awareness rather than letting one dominate the other. If you found this breakdown helpful and eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more deep psychological insights and thought-provoking content. Let me know in the comments, have you ever experienced your mind playing tricks on your heart? Let's discuss. See you in the next video. Stay aware, stay in control.